And
Dude, I can't believe it.
how did we end up with 10? Well, hey,
I guess those another year's passed, so everybody, welcome to the Revision Online Satellite Edition. Yeah, sorry about the slight delay. We thought oh,
it's custom for demo parties to have some delay. We figured we'd get it in the beginning so that we won't have more delay.
exactly, no more delays from now on. Yeah.
Pinky promise.
So, yeah, very glad to have you here. And my notes.
I am. Good point.
Good point. Who are we? Yeah.
Hi, I'm Dojo. No group affiliation whatsoever. Well, Wursthupe, of course.
Yeah.
And I usually play music and stare absent-mindedly at the camera. That's kind of my main job
very
around
good
here.
I
know. I practice.
Yeah.
I've had 3 years of practice now. So
exactly. Yeah.
how's that?
Yeah.
Who are you? Who are you actually?
Yeah. Who am I? Yeah. I'm DFox. I am your clown for the weekend, and I'm also from the both of us. I'm the fat one, in case you didn't know.
And you're kind of the comedic foil, and I'm the straight man because you usually don't get jokes.
Exactly. Yeah. So, what are we doing here today, Jojo? What is this? What is Revision? Can you explain it to me?
I'll try.
You know, you're the explainer guy. We are the meteorics because I don't know
Explain it like you're 5 because you're 5.
Max. Yeah.
Mentally, we're all 5. So, what you're seeing here is a demo party. Hello, welcome to a demo party. If this is your first demo party, you made the right choice because we're going to explain Sodal to you right now. A demo party has got the word demo in it. It comes from demonstration. It's got nothing to do with rallying against something or walking down the streets.
No politics.
That's the usual thing that I have to explain, at least in Germany, to people. What we do is who's we? We are the demo scene, like an international computer art collective. That's a nice.
That's very well phrased. Yeah.
International computer art collective, or a subculture, or a bunch of weird nerds.
That's it.
Kind of love dealing with animated, non-interactive visual arts, audio-visual arts.
Exactly. Yeah. And we're going to have a whole seminar about this in about 20-25 minutes. But yeah, and yeah, Revision. This is the 3rd year that we're online because you know there's this pandemic, which is apparently officially over for a week or 2 now, but we didn't get the memo. So yeah, we're doing this online, and what a demo party is basically is we have lots of competitions in various categories. We have coding, we have music, we have graphics, we have the combination of everything, and all of this. People are coming from all over the world. They submit their productions, their entries. They go to demo parties, and as I said, they submit stuff. We're gonna watch that stuff all together. We're gonna vote who made the best stuff, and then we're gonna küren some Gewinner. I have so lost my English.
I actually don't
praise the people who won.
Yeah, pick the people. I wouldn't come up with the term.
Yeah,
either.
We don't English usually.
We suck at Englishing.
So that is Revision in a nutshell. So we have a 3-day event now for you, and we are live from the early, not early morning, but like from the morning until late in the night. Yeah. Exactly. And this year is a bit different. We have, instead of just doing like an online event where we just everybody's like distributed somewhere, where everybody watching on stream, we have a new concept which we call Revision Satellites. And Dojo, maybe you can explain a word or two about that.
Yeah, sure. So the idea is that we couldn't make or didn't want to make a full-on 900 people in one big hall event just yet, but we felt safe enough to have like smaller congregations again, because we all crave seeing each other again. And so we figured, hey, why don't we just make smaller meetups, local meetups all over the world, and then hook those meetups up to the party via video streams, and those streams will go both ways.
Yeah.
And so right now we have like 15. What's the
16,
official
I think
number?
16 satellite events,
Awesome.
mostly in Europe.
Mhm.
There's one in the US.
Mhm.
And yeah, and this is an amazing thing. And we're going to talk to some of those satellite organizers in a bit, because they took it on themselves to organize an event. Some of them have never done this before, and it doesn't matter if it's like 10 people, 20, 50, 100. It's a huge undertaking to take on this responsibility, and we're so proud of everybody who
extremely grateful.
Yeah. Because you satellites, you make this party this year, because so many people, more than a couple of hundred people are over anywhere on these satellites, and we're just here in the studio. I mean,
we're kind of providing the background noise,
well,
right?
Yeah, we're doing the background noise.
The real party's outside the studio.
This time, the real party is on the satellites.
Yep.
Yeah. Speaking of satellites have also some of their own streams. There are streaming opportunities there. And we have a couple of ways to watch a revision and the satellite streams and stuff like that. We have like our main channel, which you're currently watching. Otherwise, we would be talking into nothingness. Yeah,
I hope we don't.
We have the revision extras. That's the place for seminars, and the place for scheduled programming from one of our satellites.
Exactly.
And then what we also have is the revision stream hub. There should be a link on your screen, and this is basically anybody who loves to stream stuff during revision. You can do commentary. You can just stream yourself drinking a beer or having fun with your friends doing barbecue or something. Send us the URLs. We will integrate you into our stream hub, and the stream hub, it's a technology we acquired from a friendly demo party called Evoke. You can aggregate all these streams and can watch stuff in parallel. So you can maybe watch our competition stream on the main stream and watch and the same, have the audio from a commentary from somebody who streams on Twitch or YouTube or somewhere. So you can like kind of mix and interact with more than one type of content. We're very excited about that.
We have something, a term in Germany, Multi-Video-Kabinen.
Multi-Video-Kabinen. That sounds like something porn related.
It's totally not. I'm going to explain later.
Okay.
It is.
Yeah. So that's where you can watch revision. Revision is also like a participation event. So participation is free this year, usually at a normal demo party, which we're also going to talk about later. You have like an entrance fee to cover the cost of the organizing and like the rentals and stuff. But this year, revision is completely free. So if you want to participate or if you want to vote for the productions in the competition, you can get a free ticket from our ticket page. There you get an access key, and with that you can register on our party network. It sounds a bit complicated, but it really is not. And once you do that, you can participate more and vote and
submit your own entries.
Yeah. And we also have apps.
The companion apps for Android and iOS.
Android and iOS and tablets. So if you have one of these, Android or iOS, you can look at revision from home. The video streams are there as well. And so there are many ways to enjoy this weekend. So and what else is here? That's it. Oh yeah, deadlines. Deadlines is a very important aspect. Some of them are already over. So if you're just learning about revision and want to participate, it's probably too late for you.
Well, you could still make a demo.
You could still make a demo, and
there
are, which we're going to talk about in a couple of minutes. We have some fast competitions, which means that there are some rules we're going to announce today, and you have until tomorrow to make something within our boundaries of the rules that we set up.
You're never going to be able to guess what it is. So you just wait.
Yeah. What's also important to know is that at an event like Revision, where the whole world can participate, basically, we sometimes get too many productions. Too many productions are submitted. So, but we only have one weekend to show everything. So there will be competitions where we have to select a few that are like I wouldn't say higher quality, but they meet different criteria, and we want to make a good show. So we will select usually like an hour of content, and in the music compost usually we have like many hours of content.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no way we can play all of that.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some pre-selection going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But don't worry if your entry for some reason ends up not being selected for being shown in the compo. We will not your entry, and it you never had so always yours. And you can hand it in at a different demo party, release somewhere you want. We're not again. We're not going
Exactly.
to keep you from doing anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's about revision in a nutshell, on demo parties in a nutshell. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff today,
Yeah.
and what can you expect from tonight or from this afternoon to until late in the night? Yeah, want to take over?
We already took that 1.5, 2-ish.
2 hours, yeah.
Talk to you a little bit. We're going to have a little seminar each. What the heck? And why don't you?
I'll take over. Going deep into where it come from, where it's going, maybe. Some of our favorite developers, and yeah, for the but also be here. You hear us stuff. And we're going to on the stream. Sabi is going to take them you all through a tour from all of the different satellites, so we can so you can get to know the locations, get to know the people, and just see what's going on at the satellites. Yeah.
And then after that, this is my part.
This is your part, definitely.
I get to say the M word again. After that, we're going to tune right into the Meteorics Awards show, where we're going to hand out trophies for productions of the last year that made a very special impression on us. And you'll see it's going to be somewhat like the demoscene Oscars, if you will. And it's going to be over an hour of great demos, glamour, seeing a lot of people, demo makers, kind of present their stuff. And I can already tell you it's going to be grand.
Lots of praise and statues and everything.
Yes.
Everything glitter. Yeah.
And then what's next then?
Then we have a seminar from one of our sponsors. It's WOMP. They do cutting-edge 3D content creation in the web browser, powered by the cloud. And we're going to learn something. And there's also going to be some Q&A about their technology. And I've seen some of it. It's really amazing what's possible. And I hope you enjoy that. Yeah.
And then following that, we're going to dive into one of the staples of revision. It's the Shader Showdown. And we're going to have multiple Shader Showdown matches across the entire weekend. And we're going to start the action tonight with the quarterfinals.
Yeah. If you don't know what a Shader Showdown is, how can we explain it like in 2 seconds?
It's kind of
imagine like a battle royale, 2 programmers face to face, 20 minutes, 25
2 programmers
minutes.
enter, 1 programmer leaves.
Exactly, yeah.
And the idea is essentially they program a live visualization to some DJ set that is played for them, and they start from scratch. They start with an empty code editor. They start typing code, and stuff starts appearing on screen that should be synced to the music. And after, I think it was 20 or 25 minutes.
Yes.
After an X amount of minutes, whatever they come up with, whatever they end up with after X amount of minutes, that's their final product, and that's going to be voted on by
by
you.
all of you and all of us. Yeah.
Yeah, and you decide who makes it into the next round.
Exactly, and that's going to be like two-hour event from 10 p.m.
10 to midnight.
to midnight
about.
ish. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's demo party organizing is not an exact science, as you might have noticed from our opening now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know either. It's like akademisches Viertel.
Yeah, amnesia is also a staple of demo party organizing.
What? So yeah, and after the Shader Showdown, we have some music for you, and that music is going to happen on two different streams. On here, our main stream, we have Ghost, who's going to punish you with hard techno, and
I think it was drum and bass.
Oh, that is kind of a techno. I am very versed in music.
We need to talk.
Yeah, outside. I'm gonna get so punched in the face. Yeah,
By Ghost.
There's gonna be some techno, I heard. And over at the Revisions Extra, we have a massive, apparently 4-hour-long set by JCO, who's gonna be streaming from one of our satellites. So that's going to be probably immensely enjoyable.
And I have witnessed JCO's DJ sets live, and
exactly,
he always goes the extra mile.
Yeah. What we also have in the extras in the extra stream, there's going to be beer seminar, which is parallel to the Shader Showdown at 10 p.m. CEST. So yeah, I think that is it for like the program for tonight,
right?
Which is already quite a bit. It's lots of content, and it's going to be just mayhem tomorrow and on Sunday, because we're going to start way earlier and end up probably later,
very much later.
Hopefully not, but it's a possibility.
Your day's going to be packed.
Definitely, yeah.
Our day's going to be.
And we're going to be sore throating, and we won't be able to speak, not because we're drinking.
Perhaps.
Oh, maybe we're going to be drinking some bit. Yeah. I think now, if it's possible, we would love to welcome some of our satellites here with us in a short call. So we're going to wave at each other and say hello. I hope that's possible now. If not, we're going to just ramble on with other things. Yeah. So Dojo, how did you get this fancy T-shirt?
I don't know. Someone sent me a link to a website, so I just entered my personal data, and then I don't know. Some guy, I think some people from Microsoft called me, told me something about my Windows PC. So I paid the upfront repairment fee, and then after I think 2 weeks later, I realized I still don't have T-shirts, and I don't have any money either. So essentially, I had to borrow money from you and try the real website.
Yeah, that's the story of that. Okay, yeah, and now let's look at some satellite events. I'm very excited.
Me too. I have no idea what's going on over there. Yeah.
Hello, everybody.
Woo!
Woo! So that is 5 satellites. We have. I have no idea. Let me check the website. We have so many satellites. Hello, everybody. We have a satellite in the US at the Loop Museum. We have, I think, 5 German satellites. We have in Munich, in Bingen, in somewhere in Westphalia,
North Rhine-Westphalia.
North Rhine-Westphalia.
I think it was an undisclosed.
Hello.
There's something in Berlin.
Hello,
There's something in Paris. There are 2 in Hungary. We have Sweden. We have we're talking about. We have Finland. We have we talked about Sweden already, and Portugal. So
Right. Yes.
there's so many awesome people who are making this happen.
The entire Portuguese scene convened at one place to have our satellite. Only 3? I thought it was 5.
Might be 5. Yeah.
Hi, Genio. We love you.
So it's really great to see all of you, and we're gonna get to know all of you a bit better later in the satellite topic with Sabi. Just so you know, you are making this event happen. I think this is the most awesome crossover kind of thing we've ever done, and I hope you all have lots of fun. And we hope to talk to you over the party a lot and see what kind of content you come up with. And we're just gonna go back and forth all the time, ideally, and see what's going on. Don't drink too much. Drink responsibly. So yeah, that's great, and I'm really looking forward. I would love to be at a satellite, but we kind of are our own satellite.
Yeah, but
Uh,
it's like I was thinking now, seeing those
yeah,
videos from the satellites, I'm immediately reminded of what it's like to be at an actual demo party in
yeah,
person, like
I
at
miss it.
Revision.
Yeah,
And I'm like, yeah, the two of us, and sometimes also the rest of the awesome people who make all of this work. Um, thank you so much.
yeah,
We have a lot of fun over here. It's stressful, but it's
stress.
fun.
Yeah,
But it is nowhere compared to what I remember being at a big demo party
exactly. Yeah,
event in person.
we're
Is
gonna have
like,
that again. I mean, there are lots of demo
yeah,
parties are happening all over the world, but the scale for Provision is a bit complicated to do
yeah,
currently. But yeah, we'll get back to that definitely. Hopefully next year.
yeah.
So yeah,
And it's great to see that at least we have something close to that now.
yeah, something close to that.
That too.
Yeah. So the next thing we're going to talk about are our fast competitions. That's what we had talked about a
You're
bit
never
earlier.
gonna guess them. I'm telling you.
It's a lot of what can be fast.
Yeah, you can
Cars,
um,
planes,
my reflexes.
your reflexes, yeah, your wit.
My what?
Your what now? Yeah, yeah. We have two fast competitions. One is the fast music competition. The rules will be on the website right now. From what I have here in my notes, it is about you have 90 seconds. I mean, you have 24 hours. First of all, the compost starts now. The submission deadline is tomorrow at around about 24 hours from now.
About the same
And
time.
you can produce a 90-second track with the theme, and the theme is satellite. And you are encouraged to use your voice, so you can sample yourself, your vocals, and just come up with some fun satellite themed bit. No,
I'll make you a bet. We'll get at least 50% Blümchen related content,
I'm up for that.
which I would be totally fine with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay,
Then
and the other
other
fast
one,
compo?
that's also something we have for years now, invented by Moldycat, and we have the paint over compo.
Yes, and we are going to. Are we going to show it now? Actually,
I maybe we can show it now. Basically, what it is, you get like an example picture, which is like a squiggly, wiggly, colorful kind of template. And what you should do is like stare at the picture and see stuff emerge, and just paint over the stuff you see and create your own interpretation of this abstract template, basically. Yeah, I think that's you said something like you stare at something for like 30 seconds and then be creative and do something with it.
And essentially it's like when you stare at a random like pattern for long enough, you start to see faces or shapes or people or something emerge. And so do that and draw whatever you see.
Yeah, the URL is here on the screen. You can also find it on the Revision website. And yeah, I think that's our two fast compos. The rules, as said, on the website. And you have 24 hours. Go. We want to see awesome stuff, and we're going to see awesome stuff.
Yeah. But don't leave just yet. We still got more content for you.
You can work on it on the side. Yeah, and yeah, deadline as we said. Oh yeah, there is. Yeah,
that's the squiggle.
It is. It's looking wild.
It's a particularly nice squiggle this year.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure you get what we mean. Like stare at it for a bit, and then yeah, I can see things.
Yeah, I love the color gradient there.
Yeah. That's really fun. I can't draw for shit, so I have no idea what to do with this. But I like
just find the closest stock photo and submit that.
Exactly.
with the watermark still in it.
Yeah, that's totally by me. So yeah, I think that is it for like our first part of the opening. So yeah, you learned about a tiny bit what is Revision, what our satellite concept is. You saw some of the satellites. We talked a bit about the rules, how the demo party is going to progress from here on out. And now we're going to talk more about that. So we prepared we prepared a seminar which we're going to be talking about in a couple of minutes.
And we're just being reminded that we should maybe talk about the 5K run.
The 5K run, yes, that is also a staple of revision. We have this for, I think, about 10 years. We stole it from the Danish demoscene, which are very
with the best ideas.
Yeah, which are very like athletic, I would say, and sporty.
Unlike us.
Unlike us, yeah. So the revision 5K run, usually we run from the evac 5 kilometers and then come back and be sweaty and go shower, get a certificate.
We got the drum and pace bike in front of us,
pace bike and a beer and schnapps break. So
lovely.
The 5K run on the online revision is basically you just run on your own or with some friends, but you can track it on our Strava club. The QR code for the link is right on the screen right now, and there's also a link on the website. So you can sign up there, and we start running tomorrow at noon, CEST, like Central European Summertime.
Okay.
So if you're in Australia, you better be ready to run at midnight-ish.
It will
I
be
don't know time zones.
I think there's an old mod called Midnight Run.
There's
actually a demo called Midnight Run.
I know a movie, Midnight Run.
Too?
Yeah.
So
it's relevant.
Australians, there's precedent, go for it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to cover the 5K run tomorrow as live as we can.
Yep.
So if you go running, make some photos, make some videos, send them to us over our channels, and we're going to review that while you run or when the run is over. We're going to look at some of your photos and videos and things you come up with.
You'll have to provide your own beer and schnapps breaks, unfortunately.
Yes.
But photos of beer and schnapps breaks will be highly appreciated.
Yeah. Okay, then Dojo, the next thing is the seminar.
Yeah.
And the seminar is an introduction to the demo scene.
What the heck is this thing we're doing here?
This thing? I have no idea. You have no idea.
I haven't the foggiest idea. You prepared the slides.
I just copied them from some guy. So we can dive right into that. I need to get my keyboard for that so I can advance some slides. And we're gonna watch some demos in between while we explain what is going on. So
one video says more than 1,000 words.
Exactly. So I think we're ready for that. So the question is, Dojo, what is the demo scene? You grazed that topic already a bit.
Yeah.
You
want to?
You can start. I have no idea.
I'll give it a try. So as I said, it's like non-interactive, real-time audiovisual art. That's quite a bit to unpack. So let's actually start from the back. Art. It's art. It's stuff that's beautiful, at least to its creator, and it can be anything. It's not restricted to any kinds of themes or topics or ways of creating. You can make whatever. It's audiovisual. It's usually pictures combined with music, and the two of them should also be synchronous to one another. They should kind of complement each other. It's real time, by which we mean, and it's animated. So it's usually not still images. Usually they move. It's real time, and that is one of the very, very important parts for us. It is not a video that somebody prepared ahead of time and that is just being played in a video player.
Even though we have competitions.
We have competitions for that, but like
it's not like the
core.
The core,
the core thing that defines the demo scene, the demo for demonstration of somebody's skills, is a program that you execute on a computer and that then starts playing or generating the movie as it runs. The movie does not exist before you start the program, and then while the program runs, it produces the sound and the images as it runs in real time. And non-interactive is that it's not a game. You can't click around. Usually it starts and you play it by itself.
Exactly. So real time. You talked about that already. So there's no video file. It can be interactive, but it's very rare. Usually demos are, as Dojo said, like non-interactive. and yeah, you calculate during the runtime. And what I think you can compare it with is like an intro of a computer game, which is usually using the rendering engine of the game to produce like a cinematic or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of comparable to that, only kind of. But
or music visualization in your music player.
I was going to say like the
Mhm.
demos are usually more algorithmic, even
Yeah.
though they are pure 3D flyby demos, which can be beautiful.
Mhm.
But the technical aspects is always also important.
Yeah.
So yeah, the demo scene itself, it is a self-emerging, I would say, subculture which appeared in the early 80s. And yeah, as already said, uh, we do real-time stuff.
Mhm.
It's very hard to describe. So I
Yeah.
think very
It's
soon we're gonna watch the demo
Mhm.
so you can see what we are talking about. But yeah, there's also like the social aspects of the demo scene. Like how does it work? So basically, you have it's not like one person does everything.
right.
So yeah, people get
It's
together sometimes from different countries,
Mhm.
most of the times from
Yeah.
different countries, and
Yeah.
they just pool their talents and produce something.
Yeah, you've got somebody who can draw, you've got somebody who can model 3D stuff, you've got somebody who can program, you've got somebody who can make music, and all of these people kind of come together and work as a team to create such works of art.
Exactly, yeah. And it is estimated, scientists estimated that we have a couple of thousand actives, which is might not be accurate.
Mhm.
It's hard to say because demoscene is not centrally organized, so it's very
Yeah.
hard to say. And sometimes people are active for a couple of years, then they have
Yeah.
kids, families, or they
They
just have
just
other things to do and new
yeah.
hobbies, and they come back like
But
10 years later.
but usually
It's like,
usually they do come back, which I think
yeah,
is a very endearing point about the
yeah,
scene.
exactly. Maybe we should leave and come back.
Come again?
Maybe we should leave and come back.
They
Nah,
don't want to leave
too
just
old
yet.
to leave. Yeah.
Ah.
So yeah, I said it's not centrally organized. So I mean, there are some organizations who like organize demo parties and help with like the cultural exchange and like the what's the word for it? Um,
Oh. Mhm.
promoting computer
Mhm.
art. But most of the associations that we have in the demo scene, we just help each other out. Like we also pool our resources. Uh, most of demo party organizers are not just organizing one demo party,
Mhm.
because we help out wherever we can, and not
Yeah.
just the organization that does revision, but it's can be seen all over the world.
Yeah, I mean it usually starts like somebody somebody goes, well, gee, there's no demo party in my area, and I'd sure love to have a demo party in my area, so I'll organize one.
Yeah,
And then they approach people who organized other people who already did that and ask them for help, and then we exchange ideas. People help out. People join their organization team, and they
lots of insults flying around.
that too. And then eventually, the new party happens. The people who started the new party become more and more experienced. Eventually, they are the guys who are
Yeah,
being asked.
yeah, it's like it's evolving,
Yeah,
ever evolving, a self-propelling thing, kind of.
exactly.
I
And
don't
it's
know.
and that's the thing. I mean, we're not doing this for commercial interests or
No, not at
anything.
all.
We're
Yeah,
just doing this because we enjoy the art, we enjoy making the demos, and we enjoy being with like-minded people. And so
yeah.
we just make it
So
happen.
basically, we're just a huge bunch of nerds. Yeah, of all sizes, colors, genders, whatever you can imagine, and
Exactly.
that makes it awesome. So
Yeah,
it's
and it's
very
that.
well. It is aimed to be very inclusive, but
Mhm.
as every culture, there are problems here and there because yeah, that's just how it works in the world.
Yeah, I mean, it's
But
we're
yeah,
still humans.
we're still human. Yeah,
Yeah, but
sadly or
yeah,
thankfully, I
but
don't
generally
know.
we're like a huge family, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, you if you're in the demo scene, you can. I'm sure you could be on any demo scene or store,
yeah.
ring and be like, "Hey, can I crash on your place for the night?" And they'll be, "Yeah, sure."
Yeah, and
It's,
even though if you
uh,
might know the person only from like a Discord or
yeah,
IRC or haven't even seen them face to face, it's usually not a problem. It happened
mhm,
to me, and I use that hospitality myself a couple of
mhm,
times already. Yeah.
yeah, it's
So yeah,
beautiful.
Dojo, what's a demo? Can you define it for me by reading the slide?
Yeah, as I said earlier, it's the term demo comes from demonstration of somebody's skills, and that's exactly what it is. People are in friendly competition with one another to showcase their own skills at programming, making graphics, making music to one another, and they produce non-interactive, real-time animation with usually either sometimes it's pre-recorded music, sometimes it's music that's being created on the fly while the program is running, and yeah, that's a demo. It's a program. You run it. You see a movie that didn't exist 1 second before.
Yeah. And now we're finally gonna watch a demo.
Awesome.
We're gonna watch Pinky Frinky by Ninja Dev. It's gonna be a first taste of demo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Crickets.
while video files are being crunched, yeah, it's interesting. This demo is actually, I think it's a JavaScript browser demo, so not okay, because not every demo is like an executable on Windows, Mac OS, or Linux. Many demos are now like web browser based. You can have demos on many different machines.
Yeah, I mean, and it's amazing. I mean, most anything runs in a browser these days.
Yeah, exactly. Browser is the new OS, basically. Even though, well, you can hate or love it.
Electron.
And the browsers are now technologically advanced enough to produce quality, fast 3D content, exactly. Almost on par with with a bare metal Windows or Mac machine. Yeah,
and that's why it's essentially cross-platform.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You can run the same. Essentially, it's you open a website and boom, you've got a demo running.
Yeah, and that is
Yeah. And some groups specialize in doing exactly that.
Yeah,
and Ninja Dev are one such group.
Yeah, one such group.
Oh, right. And remember when you said earlier how like a handful of people come together to produce something?
Yeah.
Ninja Dev are different in that way. They're like a billion handfuls of people.
It's basically the whole of Norway coming together, making demos.
Yeah, and
we worked with them on a revision invite a couple of years ago, and I think we were like 10 to 12 people in the call. Everybody worked, and it was a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, they're such friendly and fun people.
Yeah, and when we can start a demo, you see it's very fresh, very. It is. I wouldn't say it's a typical demo.
Come again?
I wouldn't say it's a typical demo, but it is definitely a fun one. This is not like
it displays a couple aspects of being a demo. Yeah. So we'll see. Let's. I hear it's ready now. So let's have a look and then
check it out.
We can talk about it later.
Let's do that. Okay. So that was
And there we are.
fresh. I love this. I
Yeah.
love this. This is so hard to describe. It's just it's fun. It's
And
fun. Yeah.
it's got this nice 80s, 90s visual style, but polished and brought into the 2010s.
Yeah.
I think it was from
2 years ago? 3 years ago?
I think it was 2018.
18 already.
Salzburg in
Oh,
2018.
okay, yeah, okay. So that's 4 years ago already. Yeah.
Mhm.
I can count a bit.
Yeah.
Um,
And we saw some aspects of what makes a demo,
yeah,
and especially the sync.
yeah.
Where
They excel at that. Yeah,
yeah, and as I said earlier, you've got this thing where it's not just the graphics and the music, but they kind of work together. And one way of doing that is to kind of synchronize the graphics and music together, is that the graphics change fitting to the music. It doesn't mean changing on every beat or whatever, but just so they work together.
yeah. So yeah, the next topic, demo parties. I mean, we obviously talked about that too, but demos are just one aspect of the demo scene. We covered like what is a demo,
Mhm.
and but yeah, how do demo parties came together? Yeah. So well, the demo party started with like small meetings,
Mhm.
like maybe some buddies from school came together and just like did something creatively with their machines, with their computers. And we're talking about like early 80s here. That's I think when it started. Like you had some like maybe a Commodore 64, a ZX Spectrum, or like the earliest machines where you could do some coding with it,
Mhm.
either like with a basic language or like with assembly language. And yeah, people just came together, did something, and yeah, mostly I think out of school.
Yeah.
I would say for me it was out of school.
Yeah, just like we did small gaming LAN parties together with
Yeah.
our friends at school.
So yeah, and this kind of evolved into like from like the local school gathering to like bigger regional things, and then even bigger and bigger, and also the different disciplines of the demo parties and the demo scene evolved and were created, because we're talking, I mean, a revision, I think we have 25 compos,
Right.
25 different competitions.
And when we say competitions, I mean that's what we hinted at earlier. That's this competitive, this friendly competitive element.
Exactly.
Right.
That's why you go to a demo party, not just to meet people and watch stuff, but also to compete. Friendly. Usually it's friendly.
And kind of to show off your stuff.
Show your stuff. That's the demonstration aspect. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, and the parties got bigger and bigger, and at some point companies got involved and sponsored some prizes or like but I must say, for me, I mean, I've won a couple of competitions, and probably you did too. And sure, the money was nice, but it was never a lot, and it was never important. It was never the why I did something.
No, it's more about kind of having something that you made, that you put kind of your heart into, shown to a big audience on a huge ass screen with a big sound system.
Yeah, and with a lot of like-minded people.
Yeah,
and being on the stage, maybe getting a trophy, getting an envelope full of 10 D-Mark Scheine.
Yeah, but I think mostly it's about being entertained by other people's works and entertaining others with your own.
Exactly, yeah. And yeah, right now we have, I mean, some people would argue demo scene is dying, but I've heard that since before I joined the demo scene, which is more than 20 years ago. So yeah, some aspects of it may change, but dying is, I wouldn't, I mean,
No.
it works very, very, very slowly. If we're dying very, very slowly.
We're getting plenty of new talent every year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, we can, the M word, we can talk about that later again.
You said it.
So yeah, there are, I just checked demoparty.net again today, which is a platform where you can register your demo party. You can see what parties are there in which country. And yeah, we have 60 to 80 parties every year, which is it's quite a bit. I mean, many of you probably only know a handful of parties, but some of you might visit 10 to 20 parties a year if you're lucky to be in a country that has lots of parties. I mean, we in Germany were quite lucky. I think the Swedish and the Finnish people are very lucky.
Yes.
The Hungarians have a lot of demo parties.
There was a time when the French had a
the French,
buttload of
yeah.
demo parties.
I think there's a lot of Polish parties, a lot of Russian parties, and
Yep.
and it's basically no matter where you live, there's going to be a demo party nearby.
Yeah.
Maybe not if you're in Australia, but
Yeah.
even Australia has demo parties. And
Australia, yes.
yeah, you have 2 or
Syntax
3
Error, for example, I
syntax,
think.
yeah. The US has demo parties, but yeah, I would say the demo scene is very much a European thing, or it started at least in Europe. And it is spread out, and in some regions
it's more prominent, and in others it's
yeah.
less. But we have demo
Exactly.
parties in Japan.
In Japan,
for example.
Need to do one in Antarctica.
We should.
Murdoch Station next year.
Nice.
You and me live streaming from Murdoch Station. Like we party with the penguins. Yeah, and they range like in size. Like there's
like,
no size limit or like minimum requirement for a demo party.
Exactly.
You can have like a 10 people gathering and call a demo party if you have a competition, or if you just say that's a demo party, then it's a demo party.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it scales up to 1,000. Which is revision usually if it's happening in real time in the real world, in the flesh, so to say. Then we have up to
900 to 1,000 persons,
and that is an atmosphere that's hard to beat.
But also it is absolutely crammed and amazing.
Yeah, and it's sometimes twofold. So I personally enjoy smaller parties, as weird as it sounds.
At smaller parties, you have more chances of actually speaking to people.
Yeah, you meet people. You have I wouldn't say it's more intimate, but you have more time to get to know somebody, or like have a proper discussion. And then at revision, there's so many people. It's like you have 10 seconds per person. Yeah,
you meet people from all over the planet, and it's like the big melting pot where the entire scene can at least kind of meet one another and know each other's, learn each other's faces.
Yeah, and it's both is awesome. I love small parties. I like big parties, and I cannot lie. So yeah. And revision is taking place in Saarbrücken since 2011. So that means we're now 12th year now, which is weird. It's weird, especially because we couldn't do the 10-year anniversary in person. But maybe next year we will do another 10-year
on the 13th
anniversary again. Yeah, and yeah, these are some impressions from revision and other parties in the world. This is what it looks like when we have a band on stage. There's lots of people, lots of computers, lots of fun, lots of noise, definitely. And yeah, we can have some fun, some nerdy fun. Some demo parties are themed, not all of them are. And if you have a theme and you're willing to invest some time in it, it can be really, really cool and or cringy. Both is great.
Yes, and it's mostly about the trying, right?
Yeah, it's just fun. I mean, we all do this for fun. I mean, what we didn't say yet, that like the demo scene is, I mean, some would argue about that, but in my opinion, it's a purely amateur volunteer based community. I mean, none of I wouldn't say none of us, but most of organizers of demo parties do not have a professional event organizing background.
No,
some do,
not at all.
And the same is for people who do productions. I mean, their day job might be something completely different than what they represent in the demo scene. You can be a musician in a demo scene, but you can be I don't know.
We have a coder who's a mason.
Yeah, okay. We have a coder
mason.
who's a mason, a stone mason. Yeah. And you can be an accountant. You can build trains or cars, but you can still maybe have a hobby in the demo scene, and that is so interesting because usually if you meet somebody and you like, at least it was at first it was like that for me. If you meet somebody in a demo scene and you're like, oh, you make great music. What's your job? It's like definitely not music. It's something completely different. And it's so amazing to see that you can branch out like personally from like your day job. You can do something. With a passion.
It's essentially it's like we're not professionals, we're the opposite of professionals. But we're like skilled amateurs, people who excel at their hobby.
Yeah,
right. And we love going all in with these things. I mean, we've got people who just like the guitar player in the picture you're seeing. I think he's a
musician.
He's a musician?
He's actually a musician.
He's actually a musician. Okay.
Bad example, but we love him anyway. I mean, Yeah, it's I mean that's it's like don't judge a book by its cover. So if
Hmm.
you're a musician here or an accountant on the other side, you never know what a person's
Hmm.
passion is, and it's I love seeing
And
this kind of stuff like come out in a demo party. Or like I mean you can also be socially shy in real life, but you can like bloom at the demo party because you're
hmm
with like-minded
and a
people.
lot of people
And
did.
yeah, and for me it's the same. I usually I mean I spend most of my life at home, and I'm very happy about
Yeah.
that. But in a demo party, at first it's scary, but then I love being there. I love talking to
Hmm.
people, which I usually wouldn't describe
Because
myself as.
yeah,
Yeah,
because eventually you learn very quickly that these people are all just super open-minded and friendly, and
yeah,
they're just as socially awkward as you are yourself.
yeah. Yeah, this is also an example from
Hmm.
stuff you can find at a demo party. It's not just sitting inside a hall at your stuffy computer and watching a screen. You can go outside. You can hang around the bonfire or like
Hmm.
anything else. Somebody might do an impromptu concert with a boombox outside,
Yep.
and or just do some things that you
Yeah.
can enjoy. And uh,
Um,
some people would say the real party is outside.
yeah.
It is definitely also outside. So yeah, there's lots of aspects of it from a demo party that you can love and really like and enjoy. You
Yeah, and
don't
that
have to be concentrated on one aspect of it. Yeah,
and that's I think that's what you just said is a very important aspect of demo parties too. Is like the visitors make the party. It's not
definitely.
like the
Yeah,
organizers prepare everything beforehand, then show a canned party to the audience, but instead it's a lot about the visitors just doing whatever the fuck they come up with.
yeah,
And
and that is
yeah,
as an
so there's so many creative people
yeah,
out there.
and as an organizer, this can be very scary because
Hmm.
you can prepare everything, but in the end nobody might show up. I mean that usually doesn't
Hmm.
happen. But
The,
but you quality wise in terms of the competitions, you're totally dependent on who's coming. You
hmm
can have the biggest party, you can have the biggest budget, but you can have like a mediocre competition because not that many people showed up or not that many
yeah.
had the time to produce something. So you're completely at the mercy of your visitors. And I find this
Hmm.
aspect very rewarding and humbling because
Hmm.
you can be the best organizer you can be, but you still the party still might not be a very good one because you didn't have the proper audience or it was at a weird time and stuff like that. So it's very hard there is no like patented concept of making a
Hmm.
successful event. And I
How
think
to
it's
demo
different in the
party
music world.
101.
I mean, if you book three main headliners, you're probably
Hmm.
guaranteed a good festival. But at a festival like Revision or like a demo party like Revision, it's like we need you, we need all of you,
Hmm.
and that is scary and amazing at the same time because we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
For me, that's at least it's a very interesting aspect. Yeah,
Oh yeah, we got
and
kids too.
yeah, we got kids too. Yeah, demo parties can be kids friendly,
Yeah,
but it's
though
of
ear protection is usually
yeah, I know.
recommended.
It is not like something that happens all the time, but there
Hmm.
have been kids at demo parties. Uh, they need to be properly protected, of course. But yeah, it can be
Yeah,
kid friendly.
and kids love it because it's also it's colorful,
It's
it's
color. Yeah,
playful, and
yeah,
it's adventure
yeah.
everywhere.
And here's some examples. Like this is from Tokyo Demo Fest, a demo party in Japan. This is in Norway. And yeah, there's lots of fun going around with the demo scene versus the gamers, but it's mostly I think in 90s and early 2000s thing when the LAN parties came up
Hmm.
everywhere and they collided with demo parties
There
and
was a time when gamers didn't realize that the demo party was not a LAN party, and they showed up
exactly
at demo parties and started gaming.
yeah
And
there was like a feud kind of. It's mostly
of
over now, but we still joke about that about those times because we are
course,
angry old white men yelling at things. So yeah. And yeah, there are parties who can get kind of weird, so we're gonna skip that. Yeah, sleeping at a demo party is also kind of fun,
yeah,
especially if you're younger and don't have the money, or if the demo party is at a location where there's no hotel or
that's also
anything nearby.
an example for our inclusiveness, right? Because anyone can come to a demo
Yeah,
party, and we'll go out of our way to enable people to join a demo party if they
yeah,
want to.
yeah. And this is like a normal sleeping area.
Hmm.
Yeah. that happens.
Yeah,
It
I've
might
done
not
it
be.
many
It
times.
might be a fire hazard or like. But yeah, we don't talk about that either. So yeah, I think we covered this quite a bit. How do demo parties work? But there are some aspects that might be interesting. Um, yeah, as we already said, it's usually not centrally organized. I mean, the demo scene itself is not organized at all. Uh, that doesn't mean it's chaotic, but it's like there's no central body.
Mm-hmm.
We don't make decision in a triumvirate or like an elder
Mm-hmm.
council or something. Uh, so basically, every demo party is separate. And sure, we collaborate, but there's no um, what's the word I'm
There's
looking
no
for?
central body that coordinates
Exactly, yeah.
when
Nobody
or how.
dictates what kind of competitions you have or must
Yeah,
do or
it's just
something.
people
It's
go, I
yeah,
want to do demo party. I'm going to do it my way, and most of the time they'll at least check with other demo parties
yeah,
so they don't clash on the same weekend. But other than
yeah,
that, they can just do whatever they want.
exactly, yeah. And it's up to the organizers to invite people to come and participate.
Yeah,
And
it's up to people to actually come.
exactly, yeah. And yeah, demo parties have, as we said already, lots of different competitions. They can range from
Yeah.
there are parties exclusively for a special type of platform, like C64 or an Amiga, or
Mm-hmm.
like there are demo parties who are exclusively for size coding, and
Mm-hmm.
or parties that are well known for their great music competitions, and the rest is
Mm-hmm.
just like some side dish, so to say, because people come there for music. So you have specializations that just evolve out of doing
Yeah.
doing stuff,
Yeah.
and yeah, how does it work? Like from an organizing perspective, might be interesting because yeah, at revision, for example, we get like a couple of hundred submissions
Mm-hmm.
for productions.
That takes a lot of manpower.
Exactly. We don't just like blindly show stuff. We do quality preview. We have to filter out copyright problems
Mm-hmm.
in all areas. We have to filter out things like hate speech or all that stuff that you don't want to see and that doesn't have a space, a place in the demo scene.
Yeah.
So there's lots of people working, especially in the online version of revision, behind the scenes, because you don't see the people working on it. But we have we have, I think, 15 people working throughout Europe right now, pre-selecting, going through your uploads, checking stuff for all the our rules. The rules are not broken. That's all within the limits. Because there are some competitions with very harsh limits,
Mm-hmm.
and
Music competitions.
music
330, I think.
competitions. Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, and it's especially challenging if you have like old school hardware. And some people come up with platforms that don't have a video output. So but
Hello,
you
I
have
mean,
we have to show stuff that doesn't have video output. So you have to film it or something, or produce
yeah.
a video, or do an emulation.
Hello, I
So
built my
this
own computer and I made a demo for it. Here's the binary, please execute.
exactly,
No, I
yeah.
don't
So
think so.
there's lots of interesting stuff going on behind the scenes. I would love to do a showcase of that at some point,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, sadly we don't have the time today. At least we don't. And yeah, and the important aspect which we also talked about already is like the public voting.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who's there, everybody is at a demo party, or everybody here in revision who has one of our free tickets, you can participate, you can vote, and you can change the outcome
Right.
of the results. Yeah, I think we only have a couple of minutes left because we started with a bit of a delay, but let's quickly talk about some other aspects which are very important to us, and then maybe watch another demo.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, technology and art.
Um, oh yeah, right. So that's kind of stories from the early days after demo scene when we started in
Yeah,
the 80s and 90s. It was all very, very tech focused because
wir hatten ja nichts.
yes, and also we were using C64s and ZX Spectrums and Amstrad CPCs, and those computers were very limited in what you could do with them. But the folks who wrote the demos weren't content with just staying within those limitations. So they tried to figure out ways to kind of tweak the hardware, reprogram it in different ways to make the machine do things that
It wasn't
weren't
meant to do.
thought,
Yeah.
yeah, they weren't thought possible
Yeah.
before. And in those days, people were constantly one-upping one another on technology, and most of the competition was focused around the technical aspects of a production. Who could display the most polygons
Yeah.
on screen? Who could display the most sprites on screen? Who could have the most raster bars? Who could have more colors than were? And people were like flashing numbers on screen all the time, saying, "Hey, I've got one
30,000
more
shape
polygon
box.
than you."
Yeah.
And that's where it all started.
Yeah, it was like the friendly fun competition, the one-upping. It was a fun time, which I just barely missed it because I'm not young, but
Yeah, I was I kind of
I
watched
wasn't
the
there.
demos
I watched
during
those
that
when I
time,
was a
but
child. Yeah,
I didn't produce them
yeah.
myself.
So yeah, and in the 2000s when hardware became uh,
Essentially powerful enough
powerful
that
enough,
all of
exactly.
these things were no longer important.
Yeah, I mean they're still important to people. They're still important
Hmm.
today because people still work on these old school platforms.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But
but then you could see like at least on the PC side and also on other other platforms like a shift to storytelling, to graphical high
mhm.
quality content, and that was very interesting to see that we went from tech only showcases to stories,
Yeah, and
and it's an awesome transition,
mhm.
and yeah, it's a it was a great time, and we're still there. We're still doing most of this. There's still tech stuff. There's still storytelling, but I
Mhm.
think the focus
And
is more
it kind of
on the experience. Yeah,
yeah, and it kind of complements one another.
yeah,
Like
sure.
we've got some productions that really work on expanding the boundaries of what's possible technologically, and
Mhm.
then we've got other productions who take what these people made and figured, hey, how can I build this into my artistic vision and
Yeah,
make something interesting artistically out of it?
yeah. So, and for that, we're gonna watch a demo, and I think after this we have to already wrap up. But this is,
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah, that's too bad. But yeah, we'll give you the slides all on SlideShare. We're gonna paste a link on the socials so you can see what else we were talking about and some of the other demos that we
Mhm.
prepared. Yeah, maybe we can do something in the morning shows in the next
Mhm.
days. Maybe if you have the time,
Yeah,
we can
we'll see.
rehash some things. Yeah, but this is a very awesome short demo, Artifacts by Logic Tree,
From presented at said Tokyo Demo Fest,
Tokyo
right?
Demo Fest,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and it is a delight. It is
it is.
in my opinion,
I
it's
love
a
it.
graphical
Yeah.
masterpiece.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So let's have a look at that.
It's so shiny.
If we're ready, I don't know. If not, we're gonna skip and. Then
Okay,
then we're gonna do.
we're back on.
So we're back on. So yeah, I'm just going to skip through the presentation because we have no time to go through it all. I think we
Yeah,
would
this
need
is
another
so sad.
hour or something. Yeah,
We prepared a lot of
but
stuff, and
I
then
really love
things happened.
this demo. So
Yeah, lovely.
I think it was a one-off. So the
Hmm.
person who did it didn't do anything else. Again, at least not that I'm aware of. So if you're watching this, we need more of that.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Eddie Tree was the name.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
So Eddie, if you're watching, we want more demos from you.
yeah, pronto. So yeah, technical aspects. Okay, yeah, technical aspects is very important. They're very
Hmm.
important in demo scene, and very soon after, like the platforms were kind of maxed out, what you can do with them, the higher end platforms, people came up with some limits. Uh,
Actually,
and
that's the limit started much earlier because
see, I don't
remember
know
when
shit.
yeah, we
That's why you're here.
demos. Um, Anyone you will ask will eventually tell you that the demo scene emerged from the cracking scene and from the um, scene that removed from the folks that removed copy protections from early games. And usually those crews wanted to kind of put their stamp onto the game, like graffiti on a wall, like this, I was here. And those groups had to kind of, they usually prepended a small piece of code to the game that would show the group's logo and show a little bit of text, maybe play some music. And that's kind of, that was the birthing place of demos. That's the stuff that demos eventually emerged from. But to be able to put something in front of the game, you had to have space to put that something in front of the game. And usually, a game disc was only so large, and the game already occupied most of the space on the disc. So you had to kind of find those little spaces, nooks and crannies to put your little intro. And you had very little space to do so. And so people were space
Mm.
constrained from the
You're
beginning,
right. You're right. Yeah.
essentially. And then, as you say, eventually when we were on larger platforms where technologically whatever was possible, we remembered those restrictions and we remembered how these restrictions actually birthed great creativity.
Hmm.
And so we artificially reintroduced those restrictions.
Yeah. And there are many size coding disciplines, starting
Hmm.
with 64 bytes is not even the smallest. I think it's 16 bytes is
I think
or
we've
32,
got 8
8
bytes
byte even. Wow.
things. I
So
mean, they
yeah,
don't do much, but they
sure,
do stuff where you think
it's an executable that doesn't crash.
it does something.
Yeah, it does something. And yeah, and there is a lots of disciplines, as I said, like 64 bytes, 256 are very popular. And then the very popular ones are 4K, 8K, and 64K.
Hmm.
And
Just for reference, 256 bytes. That's about 4 lines of written text. Like
I mean,
if you start typing in Word, 4 or 5 lines. That's it. 256 bytes right there.
it's a tweet. It's a tweet.
Yeah.
Tweets can be 280 characters now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, if you would
So
write it
that's
down, it was like less than a tweet.
yeah. Yeah. That's true.
Do we
Then
have to do these comparisons? But yeah, I guess it makes
yeah.
sense.
Then 4K. That's about 1 or 2 printed pages of text.
Yeah,
I think.
a large email.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then 8K is twice that, and 64K is what's a good analogy for
A
64K?
thumbnail image from a photo.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a very
For
small
example.
thumbnail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so yeah, the idea is to make the best possible effects in executable in the smallest possible file size, and
Yep.
there are some very good examples to that. And I think
Oh yeah.
yeah,
We've got
we
something that
can
we can
check
show.
out 64K intro. This is Bros Before Foes by Pooh Brain and
And
Logic
Logical,
Comma.
and that's
Yeah,
another international collaboration
yeah,
where actually 2 groups, one from the Netherlands, one from Norway, mostly
yeah.
Norway and Great Britain,
Hmm.
kind of came together and thought, hey, you know what? We're such good friends. Let's make a demo together, and let's just put our respective technology together and make something. And you can actually see in the demo you're about to see, if you know Pooh Brain's productions and Logicoma's productions, you will recognize what's more Pooh Brain style and what's more Logicoma style.
So yeah, enjoy that.
Damn.
So yeah, that was
Okay.
pretty cool, wasn't it?
Yeah, and
64 kilobytes.
all of that out of a thumbnail,
Yeah, basically
out of a small thumbnail.
Yeah, that was. I'm always amazed by size coding.
Yeah, and do you want to talk a little bit about how that's done,
Yeah,
or?
sure. I mean, I don't know a lot about it, but I know kind of how it works. I mean, from what I know, is like you obviously cannot fit complete 3D models and the MP3 or WAV file soundtrack in that file size. That's just not possible. So what you do, and you also cannot do frame by frame animation, because as we said, there's maybe space for one thumbnail. Maybe it's probably, I mean, the picture you're seeing on the right side of the slide is much larger than 64 kilobytes.
Exactly. Yeah, but you can store in very small sizes mathematical formulas.
Yeah, and steps to create something. So
Yeah.
basically, you can imagine a sphere. A sphere is a 3D object. This is like a sphere with some things around it, but it doesn't take a lot of space. But it can be calculated in real time. So you can build a sphere that's a couple of bytes.
Yeah,
Maybe,
and you don't store the sphere. You essentially just store the instruction. You store the instruction saying, "Please make a sphere."
The same with the background you're seeing here. It's like you store the instruction. Okay, we have to have a noisy terrain. I can extrapolate this in a 3D kind of mesh from just a noise formula, which is a couple of bytes long. And then you can do the same with texturing. You can do gradients with like height variation, and you can just layer over layer over layer instructions that generate this.
Yeah, and essentially, what you're writing in this case is instead of designing the animation in a 3D software, rendering it into a video, what you actually do is you program your own custom-made 3D software that is custom-made to produce this exact animation. And then this custom-made 3D software runs while the program is running and produces the video in real time.
Yeah, so basically you write an editor for something like Blender for 64.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
and same for the music.
Yeah, same
right?
for the music. You have like sequences or trackers that just generate the instruments while unpacking the executable. So that's why intros have like a pre-calc time, where like takes a minute or two to load, because then stuff is decompressing and generating in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it gets shown. But it's not. You make it sound like the stuff is being like the stuff is being pre-rendered and then shown and then played back from memory. But sometimes the music is prepared. But yeah. But yeah, and sometimes the music is pre-produced, but most of the time the graphics, the visuals, those are being produced in real time while the program runs. And the next thing we're going to show you is going to take this
lower.
Yeah, that's going to take it one step further. We just saw. We just checked the. Sorry. Yeah. We just saw an entire video coming out of an image thumbnail. Next up, we're going to see an entire video produced by 4 sheets of paper, printed full of text.
It's 1/8 of the size, I think, if I can divide. No. I can't math. It's very small. So let's have a look at the Wackelkontakt by Alcatraz and Prism Beings, 4 kilobyte. So Dojo, that was like the size of a 64K. Yes. I figured out the math. It's a fraction of the size. It's very accurate.
Yeah, but and as you can see, it's like it is still visually very impressive, but usually in that small size, you can usually fit like one effect in there and then squeeze the utmost out of it by
Yeah.
modifying parameters.
It is, I would say, it's visually similarly impressive, but it
Mhm.
has a different style because
Yeah,
the style
yeah,
is dictated by the size you have,
yeah,
like the space you have.
yeah. And that's part of the
For the,
creativity
yeah,
again. Like, what can you build with as many knobs as possible, still
mhm,
in a very small size, that just twiddling those knobs will make an interesting show
yeah,
for 2.5 minutes,
exactly, yeah,
which this one absolutely did.
yeah. I mean, that's 2.5 minutes of video and audio produced, and it's just incredible.
Mhm.
Yeah, but there is more. But wait, there's more.
Yeah, we can go
uh,
further.
we're going down another fraction of the size. This is 1/8 of a size, huh? No, it's also not. It's a
No,
16th.
no,
I'm
it's
so. Anyway, moving on. This 256 bytes. That is still not the lowest you can go.
it's 1/16. 1/16.
1/16th, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are usually not Windows executables or something. They're usually MS-DOS in DOSBox. Yeah,
They're
I
usually
don't know that
MS-DOS.
much because
Yeah.
you can
Yeah,
just
Windows has too many
overhead
stuff that
stuff.
needs
Yeah,
to be in a program
yeah,
that alone just accounts for more than 256
yeah.
bytes easily.
And this is usually, it has to be coded in pure assembly
Hmm.
because otherwise you cannot go down to that size.
Hmm. And usually
And
people use a lot of tricks like jumping into the middle of an instruction so that to the processor it looks like a completely different instruction, but then that instruction makes sense in the context of the demo, and
mm,
it is absolutely impressive what people do.
so there's rarely space to make a story, but
Hmm.
there's always space to make an effect.
Yes.
And that's what we're going to see now with Up Down by Sensenstahl. Yeah, this is also very impressive.
Yeah. And as you could see, um, there's not much you can do in 256 bytes.
But
And
this
in this case,
movement,
for example,
yeah,
they didn't spend any space on music or sound. There
mhm,
are 256-byte demos with sound,
yeah,
but this one didn't. They spent all the space on graphics. But I mean, just imagine, as I said, you type 4 lines of text, and you type 4 lines of text, and you're already larger than what you just saw.
yeah,
You fill up an entire tweet that's larger than this.
yeah. And you have color, you have movement,
Hmm.
you have there is. I mean, it tells a story.
Hmm.
I, it's not an elaborate, complicated story, but there is emotion in there
Hmm.
through the animation, through the color, and that's
Yeah,
like
and there is
tiny
certainly
size.
beauty in there.
Definitely,
I mean,
yeah.
just the choice of colors is
Mm.
absolutely sublime.
Yeah. So I think that was an excursion into size coding,
Yeah,
and now we're
the
going,
science of
yeah,
smallness.
the science of smallness, yeah,
Small.
smallness, yeah. Now we're going back a couple of decades,
Hmm.
and we're going to dive in some aspects of what we call old school.
Yeah.
And yeah, nowadays what I would call a modern PC, it's a new school, but we use the term new school for 20 years now, so
Yeah, this is
it's an
like
ever evolving scale, or
absolutely.
like yeah, it's
Yeah.
a bit complicated, but yeah,
But essentially, the term old school reverts to the original art of demo making on the old home computers
hmm
of the 80s and 90s
yeah,
era.
pre-PC era.
Yep.
So we have like the C64, all the Commodores basically,
Yeah.
ZX Spectrum,
Ataris.
Atari. We have
Yeah.
even Game Boy. I mean, that's an old school platform because it is like it's also from the 80s. It has limited RAM and graphics memory and all of that stuff. There's limited space available, limited processing power.
Hmm.
So that's also what makes an old school platform. And there's lots of very interesting things you can do with those. And they have their own aesthetic
Hmm.
and their own charm. So even though if you're like like if you show, I would say, a young person an old school demo, they might think, that's either it's very shit, or the music is bad, or that the
Yeah.
graphics are not pretty. But it's an aesthetic thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
and you always have to look at it in the
the,
in the context of what was possible with
yeah,
the computer of that time.
exactly. So, and to check out the first one, take over
Yeah,
Dojo,
we're
because you picked
gonna
this
show
one.
you a demo called Motus by a demo group called SMFX. These we should maybe say these demos are still being made today.
Yeah, sure.
Like it's not stuff from the 80s that we are talking about now, but this is top-notch stuff that is being made today. And the demo you're about to see was released, I don't remember, but exactly, but I think it was about 2018 or 19.
Yeah, it's
It
not
was
that,
at
not that old.
I think
Yeah,
it was Sommerhack
yeah,
2018,
yeah.
perhaps.
Less than 5 years old.
And we'll
Yeah,
see in the end scroller.
yeah.
And this one runs on an Atari ST, which is a home/business computer of the late 80s, early 90s.
Mid to late oh, yeah, late 80s, early
Late,
90s. Yeah,
yeah, somewhere around there. Was a pretty popular computer.
yeah. I think there's
Back
1
in the
megabyte of
days.
RAM.
I don't know the exact
Yeah,
tech specs.
oh, nothing you would do anything without with today.
Yeah,
Like very limited RAM, a very comparatively slow CPU, but back in the day, it was really fast computer.
yeah. And so people still program demos for it today, and they cram as much stuff onto a single disk, a single like floppy disk, 1.2 megabytes or thereabouts, and that all together produces a interesting demo with a lot of hardware supported effects, hardware made music. So yeah, it's different, but it's going to be a feast for the eyes and for the ears.
Okay, let's have a look.
So check it out. There you have it.
Wow.
That's an old school demo.
Wow. I haven't seen this before. I must admit
I
to
love
my
it.
to my shame. It is awesome. It is.
Yeah, so much style. And as
Yeah.
we were talking to one another behind the scenes and kind of referring to how you on those home computers usually you can't do huge full screen motion effects. You can if you fake it just right, as we saw. But sometimes what you can do is you can display an effect with very few things actually move
Yeah.
on the
Low
screen.
resolution part of the screen.
Yeah,
That's
only
one of the
just something moves, but you present it in a way that makes it super stylish,
Yeah.
like this cassette tape rewinding thing.
Yeah, or
that
like
they
an
did.
effect that only takes up like a quarter of the screen, and you put some text, which is a bitmap over there that doesn't take that much time to calculate, but the rest
Yeah.
of the time you can use for like a quarter of a screen effect. And that's one of the things that you have to do on old school platforms if you want to evolve, or like if you want to show and one up the other guy, yeah, or the other gal. And this is like knowing how to fake, and that's some
Absolutely.
of the things. There are like scope you can maybe on the 21 by 9 screens, but it looks great. But it is basically just to save CPU and save memory to because you don't have to calculate every pixel on the screen.
Yep.
And that goes for every old school platform. And some platforms use hardware hacks that have been discovered over the years, and graphic modes. Like the C64 has so many graphics modes that were never intended by Commodore or by any of the developers.
It has about 3 times as many graphics modes than were planned.
Yeah, and so the C64 can display up to, I think, hundreds of colors. I'm not sure how many, but 128 is possible, I think, through interlacing and all of that stuff. And that produces a whole new platform, basically, in itself by hacking what's possible. Yeah.
That's also where the non-interactive part comes in, right? Because you know in advance, you're as a demo maker, you know what you want to show to the viewer. The viewer has no chance to take any actions or modify what is being shown. So you can just trick something into, you can just do the bare minimum of work necessary so that the effect works from this one perspective.
Yeah. And sometimes you use pre-calculated animations, or even have like animated parts of it that you just play from disk, like you stream it from the disk, which takes a lot of disk space, obviously, but it gives the illusion of an effect that shouldn't be possible on this hardware, or like, and this is like one of the charms for me, is like seeing what people can come up with that takes you to a different world that shouldn't be possible.
And it always, watching a demo is, especially watching such an old school demo, it's always two things. For one, you admire the beauty of what you're just watching, and at the same time, it always keeps you guessing. Oh, that's a nice effect. I wonder how they did it.
Do that, yeah. Sometimes the thing, I have seen this effect, I know how this works, but every now and then there's something where you think like, what?
Yeah,
This shouldn't be possible.
and it's great because it entertains and nerd snipes you
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time.
Exactly. Yeah, and now that we saw Atari, now it's time to go to the Amiga.
Yes.
And this is an intro, yes?
This is an intro. This is
That
actually a
means
64K
64K
intro.
on an Amiga 500.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one of the newer ones with the big
With
processor.
the ECS and the
So it's not on an F500. Yeah, it's an
Yeah,
AGA.
yeah.
It's an AGA demo.
Oh, an AGA demo. Okay,
AGA
okay.
demo, and it actually requires no 60
Yeah,
to
yeah.
really
Okay.
run at full
So
frame
this
rate.
is like a high-end
High-end Amiga demo.
high-end Amiga, yeah, and 64K. It's Gunda Real by Spaceballs, and it's enjoyable.
Absolutely. And that's
Un
it.
Royale.
There's your thumbnail on Amiga.
Yeah, and this is also a very good reminder that stuff needs to be calculated a lot. So I
Yeah.
think the loader bar you saw was like 30, 40 seconds, and
Yeah.
that is indicative of there's a lot of content in there.
Yeah. That's
So-
like that's the
or at least a lot of
64K
compression, yeah.
thumbnail unfolding itself into memory and preparing the
Yeah.
show that's ahead.
Yeah, I have no, I don't know what's in this
I don't know
intro
what they do,
specifically,
yeah.
but a long pre-calc usually doesn't mean a bad thing. It means there's going to be some show for you there.
Mhm. Exactly.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. Spaceballs is a very, very
It's a household name in the demo scene.
a reputable group
Absolutely.
for many, many decades. And yeah, they are Spaceballs. We are not. That's just how it is. Yeah, and we have to go.
We have to deal with
get
it.
to terms with that.
Yes.
Joe. Yeah. Yeah, but we have another old school platform to show you. This is a CPC demo. That is
going
is it a German machine?
even further back. No, it was. It's an English.
English.
It's an
I only know
it's
the
a,
Schneider CPC.
it's
I
a
thought it was
UK
German,
home
yeah.
computer. It's from the company Amstrad.
Amstrad.
It's an Amstrad CPC.
I think it was like
it's
like
about
licensed in Germany under
around
Schneider.
yeah. In Germany, Schneider Computer sold these things under their own brand. So in Germany, they're all known as Schneider CPCs. But
that's what I know it for.
the rest of the world knows them as Amstrad CPCs.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and they run on about they actually run on the same. They run on a Z80 processor, which is the same CPU that's also in a ZX Spectrum.
Yeah.
And computing power wise, it's comparable to a C64.
Yeah,
and
but they have different
similar
colors and different graphics modes.
As you can see, for example, in the picture in the thumbnail to the right, the CPC could be more colorful than the C64. The C64 is notorious for its default its
the hard
which
palettes,
is not even it's not even default. It's like the palette period. And CPC allowed different, more colorful colors, but was otherwise more limited. The C64 had better
sound,
better audio qualities,
which is obviously subjective.
Of course,
I love the C64. But I love the
everyone
ZX
loves
and
the SID
sound. Yeah. But yeah, it was specs wise, it was something. Voice is the wrong word, but as you said, like different and different quality. Yeah.
And so what we're going to see now is like another 5-ish years earlier, older hardware, and we'll see what Condense could cram into this hardware, what they can make that computer do. And this is also a similarly recent demo, 2017-ish, or no, they were nominated for a Meteorix Award in 2020, so they must have been made in 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and so let's see what they can make that CPC do.
It's another very fine example of an old school demo. Yeah.
Yes,
And you could
absolutely.
see the looking at the credits
Yeah.
from the Czech Republic and from
Canada.
Canada.
I
Yeah.
think there was another UK
Yeah. So it's a
person
very
coming up.
international group, and we can talk about that maybe a bit more if we have the time. Let's see. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
So
so much for old school.
yeah, I think that's our way through that era. Or it's not an era; it's just an area of the demos. Because yeah, as you said, there's always stuff being produced still for all kinds of machines, and there's even machines you never even heard of. I think at least once or twice a year I hear that there is a demo on a thing where I thought like, I've never heard this before. Where does this obscure hardware come from?
Yeah.
And then somebody produces something for it, and yeah, you have a new platform basically. Yeah.
Break a new ground every year.
Yes. Exactly. So, but yeah, I think those were like the big demo-ish platforms. We had like the high-end stuff. We had the intros. We have the size coding aspects. We have the old school aspect. We have the technological versus the design aesthetics and stuff like that. But yeah, demo scene is much more than that. Even though those are undoubtedly the most prominent. And,
Yeah, I
and
mean that's like
I wouldn't say the
that's the
important, but
complete package,
yeah,
if you will.
that's why we're here.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of stuff that is going on as well, and that is mostly like for single artists, I would say. A demo is a group effort. I mean, obviously you can make a demo on your own if you're like talented in all aspects. I mean, intros are most of the time like the tiny ones. You usually work on that alone or maybe with two people. But
usually graphics artists and musicians produce a lot more pictures and music than can ever be shown in demos.
yeah. So yeah, there is a highly active graphics scene within the demo scene, and that's also again over all platforms. We have the modern, like with Wacom tablets, you can draw something, you can colorize something, you can hand draw and paint over it, you can 3D do 3D renderings or composite stuff. But also, people are pixeling on the Amiga or the C64 with a joystick or C64 mouse.
With a joystick, holy crap!
I pixeled with a joystick back in the day because I didn't have a mouse. And people are still doing that on the hardware, not always, but also on the hardware.
And you saw the results in the old school demos.
Yeah,
previously.
that's most of the time, I think, or at least some of the time, that's actually produced on the machine, not on an emulator, or it's rarely converted like with Photoshop or something, because you would see that difference of a conversion versus like a actually hand pixeled graphics.
Perhaps the production is not made on the actual old hardware anymore, like it used to be done, but in a more modern program. But the style is still the same. Like people really clicking their mouse into every cell by hand to place the pixels.
That is weird, but that's how I grew up.
Yeah, it's a bit like origami or like tiling.
Yeah, tiling is probably a good idea.
Mosaic,
yeah. And apart from that, there's also what we talked about, the paint over compo, which we talked about in our fast compo, which we have. And there's competitions for animated GIFs, which doesn't mean that it's like a cat jumping around, but you can also create an animated GIF that is artful and sophisticated and not cats chasing dogs or eating cheeseburgers. And there's also a very interesting combination of some of the areas that we talked about.
Right.
We have the graphical aspects that we're going to talk about now, but there's also a size coding aspect to that. So there is something that's called 4K executable graphics. You know a bit about that, Jojo, yeah?
Yeah, and it's essentially, imagine you're making a 4K demo, but you don't have to produce any sound, and the graphics you produce don't have to move. And you just produce a still image. You don't even have to. It doesn't even have to be real time. You can take 30 seconds to calculate your image in the background, but you only have 4K of space for the program that produces the image.
Yeah.
And what can you come up with?
Yeah.
Turns out there's a lot.
There's a lot. Imagine like the 4K we saw was like 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes, the Prism Beings one. And imagine you could spend all that effort and or
That's
disk space, or that not disk, that's a space that goes into the sound, the animation,
mhm.
the color
Yeah,
grading, or
all that design space, if you
yeah,
will.
if you can cram that into one
Yeah.
still image, and what you can do with that is just you're gonna love it. We're gonna show some of that soon. Yeah. And there's also like there's a lot of text mode graphics going on,
It's
like
like that's one of the examples or one of the prime examples for demoscene. We take everything you can think of, we turn it into an art form.
yeah,
Text files, yeah, that's an art
sure,
form.
yeah. I'm pretty sure you know like what an ASCII graphics is. Basically, with your monospaced font, you type something on your keyboard, you make something.
Yep.
You've seen it. You've definitely seen it. Same as is the PC and Amiga. They had like an ANSI mode, which is a
Mm-hmm.
colored version, like where you have like kind of pixels. They're a bit elongated, but it's basically a character that is colored. And there's also Petsky. That's the C64. If you've seen the C64 keyboard, you might notice that on the keys there are some weird squiggly things. That's Petsky. That's an alternative font basically on the
Yeah,
C64,
and
which you can draw with.
yeah,
If you
people were like,
you
"Oh,
write
funky
something, but you
shapes!
can
I can
draw
draw
something.
pictures with that."
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, we're going to look at some examples of all of these things. So yeah, these are pixel graphics from different platforms,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not sure if it comes through perfectly on the stream, but if you zoom in into those, you see the individual placed pixels, and you can see how much work goes into those. And
And of course, there's also technical
yeah,
limitations,
of
right?
course, yeah, you have like 16 colors, 32 colors, or
Yeah,
the C64 is totally weird. You cannot, I think you can only place a certain amount of colors into a block of 16 by 6
wasn't
or 8 by
wasn't that
8
the
or something.
Specky
Oh,
that has
C64
this?
has also some
That
kind
has
of
it too.
limitation about
Okay,
that.
okay.
So you can only place 3 colors into a larger chunk of
Yeah,
the screen. And there's all kind of weird stuff going on. And the stuff people produce is astounding. I think, yeah, we have on the top right, that's a C64
mm-hmm.
pixel art. Can you imagine? It is
and
just 16 colors, a
and
fixed palette, 16 colors. It looked
yep.
like a million colors to me. That's just amazing. And yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and the on the bottom right, we have, I think it's Amiga graphic,
Mm-hmm.
and on the left, it also looks old school. I don't know where I got it from, but it looks
Mm-hmm.
to be a much higher resolution.
Actually, it's
Excuse
also
me.
pretty pixely.
Mm. And then we have some examples from like the higher end machines
Yeah,
to
just
produce graphics,
the
like some.
the compos where you can have arbitrary resolution, arbitrary
Mm,
true colors.
yeah.
You can use your Wacom tablet to draw, Photoshop to retouch stuff.
And in the lower right, there's an example of a paint over entry,
Yes, that
which
is
also
an
started
actual.
from like that was squiggly lines you saw when
Yep,
we presented our paint over template. That was something
and
somebody did from that.
and it's incredible, but it really works. If you take the squiggly picture from that year and overlay it on top of that,
You can see that
you
it's
can see,
evolved from
okay,
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, I can see how those shapes are somewhere in there.
yeah. And in the competition, in the paint over competition that's gonna run on Sunday, I think. You're going to see the work steps that go into
Mm-hmm.
that. So you see the
Mm-hmm.
original squiggly one, and you see how people
Yeah,
overlay
how it kind
that
of
and all
slowly
paint over
transforms
it.
into the
And
result,
yeah, exactly.
right?
And these are the what we talked about, the 4K executable graphics.
Mm-hmm.
So each one of those, it's a 4 kilobyte executable. It can run on Windows, and it produces after some pre-calculation these images. So it is hard to explain how this is possible.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, I mean, if you look at the sofa, it looks like it's a
It's
very crisp
so
rendering.
crisp and fluffy, and also like the wrinkles.
The wrinkles
The
on the
wrinkles on the
sofa, yeah, yeah.
cushions are so well made, and there's so much attention to detail in there.
Mm.
Yeah,
And yeah,
but
on the bowling ball one, you can see
uh
there's motion blur, there's movement in there,
yeah,
even though it's just a still image. And yeah, that's what you can produce in 4 kilobytes. Um, yeah, and these are some other high end graphics. And you can see the styles. There's no limit.
there, yeah,
There's
yeah.
no.
there's so much diversity in styles too.
There's no limit is the wrong word. What's the word I'm looking for? There's no restriction in what you want to do. You're free to do anything.
Yeah.
And yeah. That is,
And
yeah, we could talk days about the graphics,
Right.
also graphics and demos. It's a totally another topic, but it's very interesting, everything. And yeah,
likewise, we have music production,
exactly,
which is another very, very interesting area. And we've always have, as Devox told you earlier, our music competitions always overrun with entries because there's so much great music being made in the demo scene. And there's so many people who are just, for their hobby, produce music, and there are a lot of different styles being produced. We have different competitions, not per style, but there's also many different technologies of producing music. One is like I was going to say the standard way. Musicians all over the world are going to yell at the screen now. There are so many ways to produce music that ends up being an MP3. And that is the usual way of producing music today.
Or like, of course, consuming, or like having finished end product. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's only like the end result of your music making.
Right, right. And that's kind of the equivalent to the high-end graphics competition. Like you can use Photoshop, you can use Affinity, you can use whatever you like. You can use a Wacom tablet, you can render something in Blender, do whatever you please. The end result is a PNG or a JPEG, and you hand it in. That's your result. The same in we call them streaming music competitions, where you hand in a MP3 of whatever you came up with. And then there is other ways of making music.
Exactly. Oh, sorry, I skipped this
where one is old school music.
Again, old school
music, where, of course, I mean, C64 doesn't really lend itself to playing MP3s or even storing them like on a cassette. So what do? You write a program that does things to the sound chip to make it play the music you want.
Yeah.
So that's old school music for you. Usually much of this music is really hand programmed to tweak the sound chip in just the right way.
We have the PC modern, or not PC, but the more modern equivalent that's called executable music, which is also, again, a size coding discipline, because why should musicians have all the space they want if coders can't?
Exactly.
So musicians have that too, have the limitations or the option to participate in a competition with those kinds of limitations. And then there's tracked music. A tracker is, what is a tracker, Dojo?
A tracker is I coined the term Excel sheet music last year, I think.
You're going to be punched for that.
I got punched for it last year. Okay. I'm going to be punched again.
You'll be punched again for that.
I still think it's a perfect term.
It is a good comparison. Yeah.
And what you have is you've got a timeline, and you program music like pixel graphics. You've got a raster of channels, and you've got a play cursor that moves from top to bottom through this raster, and everywhere you place a quote-unquote pixel, you play a note. Usually that note it triggers a sample, just a piano or strings or something, and then that sample plays on this channel, and all the columns of this Excel sheet are separate channels that can play one note at the same time.
Or like, for example, the C64 has 3 channels, the Amiga has 4. On PC you can have unlimited, I think.
Hi, Saga Musics.
Yeah. and that you Excel sheet your music.
Yes. And so you enter your notes on this raster of time versus channels, and then the program plays your music from top to bottom, and that's how your music is being played. And that was the way we made music on old platforms like on the Amiga and up for a very, very long time, because it's very space efficient. You store the individual samples. You store like one key press on a piano, you store one sample of a string, and then the program turns this along with the instructions. You see kind of
where we're going
it's
with
kind
this,
of going it's kind of going back to size coding again. You take the small samples, like the pieces of the music, and the instructions of how to turn it into a whole musical piece, and then you play it.
Yeah.
And we're going to show you an example of that.
Yeah, but we are
Running
really out of time now. Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So I'm going to skip forward. There's lots of more things to do. I'm just going to ask the production team if we're ready for the next segment. If not, we're going to continue a bit more. Okay. Then I think we can welcome our next segment, which is.
Do you want to show the slide about want to take part again?
Let me just
because that's like
skip here.
The one interesting slide.
If you want to be part of the demo scene, if you're interested in the stuff we're rambling about, there's lots of resources where you can first of all visit a demo party that's not online. That can be possible on demoparty.net. You can watch demos and download them on different resources like poet.net and Demozoo, where you can download stuff and look at things. And also there's YouTube links for every demo, because you might not have the platform that the demo was coded for. There is a Discord, which you might be part of right now. The demos in Discord. There's stuff on IRC. We have web radio. There's lots of resources. As said, we're gonna show this. We're gonna upload this on SlideShare, so you can have a look at it in more detail. So I'm being told we have time for 2 more demos.
Okay. So how about we showcase the tracked music we wanted to?
If we can. Not that.
Okay.
Then okay. Just a bit about the other areas. Sorry that we're skipping around like this, but yeah, there's an animation and video component to the demo scene as well. That's also usually a single artist competition, where somebody who is not versed in making music or making graphics by hand or pixeling, but they can hold a camera, or they know how to render beautiful 3D scene, know how to work a camera in the 3D space, and there's different styles. Also, we have like actual filmed bits, like with a camera, and it's all post processing and everything. We have music videos. People do music videos there, or they do other pieces like 3D pre-rendered stuff. And we have what we can show you now is a very interesting combination of effect-based. How would you describe it? This one, the bit
yeah. That's like,
because they use a normal camera.
They take actual
do something with it.
Yeah, they take actual video footage, and then they post processes through existing software like Premiere and After Effects, or some custom image processing software that they wrote. And I mean, sometimes you've got videos as your input material, and then you post-process them. Sometimes you actually generate the entire content, but your program is not fast enough to do it in real time, so you render into a file and then submit that file. It's all a fair game.
So yeah, this is definitely a very interesting one. It's it is something I have not seen before done in this way.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful. We all know kaleidoscope effects and how they work. You take an image and you mirror it along non-90 degrees axes, and you come up with interesting results. What this does, what Bitfellas do, is they take drone footage and mirror it along custom chosen axes that are not kind of symmetric on the screen, to turn that drone footage into stuff that looks like a tunnel or something else, that turns it into really, really interesting foreign cityscapes. Somewhat like, looks a little bit like Inception.
Yeah, okay.
Which is kind of where the title comes from, I guess.
I guess so, yeah. So it's definitely another area that we have in the demo scene, and is also it's very artful. So yeah, let's have a look at that. So Dojo, here we have an analog ray marcher.
Yes, exactly.
That's awesome. There's
Yeah.
just the creativity in this. I mean, it's nothing that didn't exist before, but this
No, but
combination
yeah.
I personally haven't seen before. It's like, yeah, I mean, art is derivative anyway, but this is I like this a lot. Yeah.
And just the combination of great drone footage combined with a wonderful idea that matches perfectly. Oh,
Exactly.
lovely.
Yeah. So we have tiny chapters still. We have a couple of minutes left. I want to talk about international collaboration, which we grazed the topic. Is that something you say in English?
We grazed on. Yeah.
Okay. Not crazy like a cow, but
Or
scrape the topic.
Or like Cthulhu.
Cthulhu, yeah. So yeah, we talked about that in the demo making process. Usually there's teams involved, or like at least a multitude of people, and you have somebody who's coding, some people for graphics, some people for music. Nowadays you have people who provide some kind of direction, not in terms of like every scene or something, but like give an idea, or like a kind of a road to go on, so you have like a storyboard or something. And there's also in larger teams you have to have somebody which is all the people and the assets and everything. Especially there are some demo productions that take half a year or a year or more than 1 year, and you have to have somebody to organize all of that.
Yeah, and
because we are
sometimes
all chaotic people.
Yeah, and sometimes you've got that great idea in your head and you want to make it happen, but you just don't have
the resources
team
or
for it.
like the talent yourself, and
And then what do? You ask your friends.
exactly, yeah. And and you can communicate over whichever platform you want. I personally, we do our demos talking. Well, Skype is kind of outdated now, but it's still here in the slides. But Discord, there's IRC. Back in the day, we have Skype, we have Microsoft Teams, we have basically any platform you can imagine, any communication form. And then obviously you share your assets, the code repository in GitHub, or like a Dropbox service, a cloud service that you host yourself, or like have an account somewhere. And obviously there's direct communication. If you live nearby, like we do sometimes, we can meet up. You can have a coding weekend, a creative weekend,
just pack
or
up all
something.
your gear,
And
throw it together, and you can be super creative over
also
a weekend or a week.
People always collaborate at demo parties themselves, like
Exactly.
they finish up the entries, like the final polishing, or like you get together, everybody worked on their assets, and at the demo party just glue everything together and finish it up so you can present it in the compo that's in a couple of hours or something. And from a production side, it's not that different, depending on the type of production than you would do in professional life. You have like a concept, you do some concept art maybe, or like a storyboard. Somebody's producing different kinds of assets, and soundtrack has to be produced, audio has to be synced in the end and properly cut and everything. And then post-production, like in terms of color grading over the end result, not post-production in terms of like have a video and do something with it, but like in the executable. So yeah. So maybe we can show you this demo tomorrow morning in the morning show, because now we're out of time. What we wanted to show was Megalactic by Schengen All Stars, and we're going to do that another time. So let's check out. There's a lot of demo parties coming up alone this year. This is just a very tiny part of what I found on demoparty.net today. So many parties all over the world. Are interested, just check out one of those. Go to demoparty.net. There's all the information you can want. Every demo party usually has a separate website where you can register or talk to people. And
demoparty.net is like the central hub where all of those demo parties enter their information. So you've got a calendar over the year.
Yeah, basically,
you can see
I think you can
which
actually
demo parties are
subscribe
going to
to
be.
a calendar. Yeah. So yeah, if you wanted to go to a real party, most of those are actual parties that are in the flesh, not just online parties, but still there's
Fingers crossed
parties. Yeah. So yeah, thank you for listening. Us two rambling about stuff that we barely know about. We hope it was still entertaining. And yeah, what's coming up next, Dojo?
Yeah, next up we're going to